Today we're going to go game by game, matchup by matchup, and try to identify the sneaky starts, those guys who could exceed expectations, that could surprise us in the box score. We're not trying to pick winners. We're not trying to pick guys that can hit. If most of these guys hit, I did a disservice because I'm really trying to dig deep here and try to find you jabroni players that when you're struggling to set your lineup, that maybe you can gamble on and maybe accidentally find a hitter that gets you through your week. That is the goal with this video. Tomorrow we will be looking at the must starts for every matchup. You will want to watch that for the start, sits, and everything else. But you do need to click that subscribe button right now. We do this every week to help you set your lineups. We go deep on the waiver wire Sunday through Wednesday, Thursday. And on top of that, we do deep dives on all the players that are trending. And we also look at practice clips. A lot gets done here. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. Don't disappoint Ric Flair. But we're going to start off with Alec Pierce, Colts, and Detroit Lions. When you look at the Detroit Lions, we know where the ball is going. It's pretty concentrated. We don't know how much of an impact we're going to get there. You're not going to really call Josh Downs a sneaky start. People are looking at Michael Pittman. He's on a lot of rosters, but people are hating themselves for that. Alec Pierce is that guy that goes up and down in the fantasy scoring. He's running a lot more routes. He's getting a lot of deep targets. You could catch that down game. We also have a 50.5 over-under. It's not likely that you're going to see consistent points out of him. The last 2 weeks have been okay. That being said, we got a good matchup. We could see the deep ball. We cash in on a deep ball here and there from Anthony Richardson. Could be huge for you in fantasy football. Jonathan Brooks is back. We got a bad matchup, 43 over-under. Should be a lower scoring game. Should be hard on the Panthers to move the football. However, teams got to be creative against the Chiefs. And Jonathan Brooks, with Miles Sanders out, should see the Miles Sanders workload to some degree. I don't know, more or less. We don't know exactly. They do want to experiment with them. This is a good matchup to do so with, considering like you're probably going to be taking an L here. So maybe in the back end of the game, you give them a little bit more. Maybe something like that. However, when you're trying to be creative here, you're trying to throw the ball to the running backs, get out quick to the tight ends. JT Sanders, maybe. It's not a lock, though. These are sneaky starts. He might get a few extra targets in this game than expected. That's what I'm trying to say to you guys, because they're going to stuff the run. They're going to stop the passing game. And now you got to figure it out, how to move the football. So you're going to have to get creative with it. We see it every week. Sometimes your traditional players against the Chiefs still get it done, but they're getting the ball in different waves. Maybe short pass attempts versus a deep ball. Maybe some quick hitters. Maybe something like that. Miles Sanders was running about 12 routes per game. Jonathan Brooks should see somewhere around that area. Maybe a little more, a little less. It's up and down, even with Miles Sanders. But that's enough workload to pop one. That's enough workload to see 3 to 5 targets. That's enough workload to get some opportunity. Jonathan Brooks could be a sneaky start. Titans versus Texans, 40.5 over under here. The ball's concentrated with the Texans. You know where you want to go with it when you're starting players. When you look at the Titans, you don't want to start hardly anybody off this team. But Ridley, people are throwing out there. They're looking at this matchup in a vacuum. They're thinking about it. Tony Pollard's been hot in the start of the season. Nick Westbrook has been a touchdown machine, scoring touchdowns in 5 out of his last 6 games. He's due to miss one. He's due, but he's also getting a lot of targets here. During that span, 2 targets, 4 targets, 4 targets, 6, 3, and 6. Not heavy volume, but enough to get it done, considering he's getting deep targets downfield. He's a guy that could surprise you. You're looking at Vikings versus Bears, 39.5 over under. Not a sexy matchup. You got Odunze. He's running a lot of routes out there. He's getting a lot of opportunity, a high route participation rate throughout the season. And we're starting to cook a little bit. 3 out of his last 4 games, over double-digit PPR fantasy points, and we're going to be up against the Vikings. The Vikings could be up in this matchup. I look for this to be very close to what Vegas is saying with the point total of 39.5. I look for this to be a knock-em-out, drag-em game, and it's all on Caleb Williams. Because if he can get hot, he was hot last week, if he can get hot this week and push the pace, Odunze or one of these wide receivers might hit for you. But you're looking at the Vikings here in this matchup. They can dictate the pace, but they want to be a fast-paced team. Every year, top 5 in pace of play. They want to be a fast-paced team. They identify that way. They want to push the pace. They want to push it through the air. Can the Bears keep up with them? Jalen McMillan. We got the Giants. Giants got a quarterback change. Jalen McMillan here is going to run a lot of routes. Going to push for an 80% route participation rate. Targets should flow his way. We're coming back from the injury. It's against the Giants. Should be an ugly game script, but we should expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to roll in this matchup. Jalen McMillan could be a sneaky option for you. Noah Brown has a revenge game against the Dallas Cowboys. That is a narrative you may want to invest in. On top of that, he's been seeing targets. 8-1, 6-6, 7-4. So there's volatility on the down there, but also we're getting 8 targets, 6, 7 in some of these matchups. The volume could be there in this game. We got a 45.5 over-under. Jaden Daniels does not care. This is Dallas Cowboys. They're probably going to still push it deep. Noah Brown could get his touchdown here. It's been since week 8. He could be crossing the goal line here. We got ourselves a revenge game. He's going to want to play well. I don't believe in narratives, but if you're looking for a gamble that could hit out of nowhere, this could be one of those. Kayshon Boutte, a 46 over-under. We got the carousel effect here in New England. Him, Demario Douglas, Kendrick Bourne. Pick your poison, really. Not just Kayshon Boutte. Pick your poison. The over-under's fine. Drake May's pushing the ball downfield effectively. He's keeping the offense flowing. That's something to pay attention to in this matchup. Pick up Patriots wide receiver. Gamble on it. See what happens. Broncos, Raiders. We got injuries at the running back position. Everybody's going to look at Amir Abdullah. He's probably already rostered. You're looking for somebody else. Dylan Laube. If he's out there on the field, he's been a healthy scratch. But this guy had more catches than Marvin Harrison Jr. last year, even though it was at New Hampshire. He had more catches than him. Can catch the ball in the backfield. And you're going to have to get tricky against this Broncos defense. You can't come out vanilla, just running it up the gut, throwing it to the outside. You got to be creative. This is a running back to be creative with. He's got good size, just athleticism. If he's out there, this is a little bit of a stretch. But if you want it, go get you some. Christian Watson is the ultimate play for this type of video. He's an upside dandy. 1 week he'll hit. The next few weeks he'll give you nothing. Next week he'll hit. That's just how he is. But we got the Niners. With the Niners, the ball is heavily concentrated. After the Packers, you're not going to say Joe Mixon. And then you're not going to go to the backup running backs because of the Niners defense. And then on top of that, you got the carousel effect with the wide receivers. But you're going to look at Jalen Reed and Romeo Doubs because they're getting the snaps, targets, and routes. Christian Watson, upside play in this matchup. You could throw in Ricky Pearsall. 4 to 5 targets a game. I'll give you a bonus with that one. He's a guy that could exceed expectations. So if you're listening to the video and not just watching for the pictures, Ricky Pearsall is also a guy to look at in this matchup. Cardinals and Seahawks. The ball's kind of concentrated on the Cardinals side. Dortz, Wilson, sneaky plays if you're looking at that. Zach Charbonnet catching the ball out of the backfield. He's a good receiving back for his size. Could get some extra work, could cross the goal line, could sneak a little something against the Cardinals. Rivalry game with a 47.5 over-under. That means there will be added opportunities. He's due to do something in the box score. It's been since week 8 since you got a little something out of him in fantasy production. So that's something to look at for Zach Charbonnet. Demarcus Robinson is always a sneaky play. The ball's concentrated for the Eagles. You know Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley. That's about 90% of the workload right there. Same thing with the Rams. Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Demarcus Robinson, though, can sneak out there on a few targets, bring in a big play. And we've seen that a couple times. We're due for that to happen again. And that's really just one big moment. Whether it's in the red zone or a deep bomb downfield, that the coverage just happened to bust, roll his way, and next thing you know, he's scoring big. But Demarcus Robinson, if you're looking for a sneaky option, probably one of the safer of the sneaky options when there's not a safe sneaky option when you're looking at, but he's one of the safer ones. Rashod Bateman, another safer sneaky option. He's a roller coaster wide receiver. He gets deep targets downfield. He's getting them at a decent clip. We got a 51 over-under in the Harbaugh Bowl. That's something you want to look at. When the Harbaughs unite, you know craziness is going to happen. Rashod Bateman, deep ball city, getting a fair amount of targets per game, usually around that 5 range. So that's something you could look at if you're really hurting setting your lineup as a wide receiver like. But those are the deep plays rolling into week 12. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.